So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depends upon from wherever in the world we are joining. My name is Mohit, and today we are going to talk about securing your infrastructure with Azure Sentinel. I hope you have a long day if you are from different part of the regions. If you have just joined this, I'm going to make sure that you get enough, you get bored enough from this session that you don't join another sessions. If you are brave enough to join another session, good luck to you. But if you have been following since morning, I think it's going to be a good, fruitful day for you because we have been doing this session from last more than 24 hours now. And I think it's been useful for many of the other people as well. So before we go into our conference, just want to give a note about the SharePoint conference. It used to called SharePoint conference before. Now it's called M365 conference. It's going to happen in Vegas in next year, March 23rd to 25th. Let me go back to the slide. At MGM Grand Resort. It's one of my favorite places actually. I love the strip. It's right at the strip. So if you are planning to go on a vacation, I think this is the right place to be it because it's a vacation and it's a learning vacation, so you can attend the conference and then spend a lot of money on the casinos, or maybe you can earn a lot of money on the casinos in the strip. So if you're looking to learn something, and then if you're looking to attend the M365 conference, you know where to go. It's m365conf.com. Before I go ahead and talk about the security, I want to thank our sponsors. So we have few sponsors, if you can see it on the screen. I want to thank them for their kind support. So because of their support, we were able to make this happen. So let me introduce myself. My name is Mohit Chhabra. I worked as a DevOps architect with MediaWest in GmbH in Germany, and I'm a Microsoft Azure MVP from last 3 years almost now. I was awarded in 2017 as Azure MVP, and I've been continuing with the title. I blog on a site called azureguide.in. I'm guilty of not updating my blog as often, but still feel free to go on my blog and check out whatever information it's already been there. I will try to put more stuff in the future for sure. Apart from that, I have a group, I have a Facebook community. I have a small group of Azure enthusiasts. So if you're working on Azure and if you find it useful, uh, or if you want to learn Azure and move your transition your career to Azure, I have a group in Facebook called Microsoft Azure for Beginners. It's Microsoft Azure in characters, whereas 4 is in numeric. So Microsoft Azure for Beginners is the group name. We have more than 36,000 Azure enthusiasts from over the world who are active participants of the group. So feel free to join and then learn and share with the community. Basically an Indian who's working in Germany, so I'm working here from last 1.5 years now, and so far I've been loving it. So another good thing about people who have been part of this streams, if you if you are basically looking to win something, we have a raffle. We have a raffle for the participants. You need to go into this link on the left hand side. Let me go back to the slide again because the slide is going way faster than I could. It's bit.ly/m365 raffle. Go to the link and then we are giving away this for one for each reason. Uh, we have three Oculus Quest to give away, and then you have to answer 5 questions minimum correctly in order to be qualified for the raffle. And if you win, good luck. You never know. So now we are there for the right topic. Let's talk about security. So we have been seeing that the kind of applications and the kind of data that was there has been changing. The kind of environment we used to run has been changing throughout from last few years. And previously we used to have simple applications that used to deploy in the server, but now we were responsible as a security analyst. We were responsible of securing those servers and stuff. But now we are living in a world which is connected. And when I say connected, we are getting data from multiple places, whether it's your smart homes, your smart vehicles, or your IoT devices, or people from and then your mobile devices and stuff. So data has been changing uh, from last few years now, and it's changing rapidly. Also, when we have different kind of devices, the issue of securing those devices also comes in. So you have to make sure, because we are communicating from different devices to our servers or our infrastructure. Let's say you have a smart home, and then you have to, the smart home is trying to contact to your servers. So you're basically communicating. So you have to make sure the whole process, the whole links between your servers on the smart home devices is secure. Because if it's not, and if someone is able to get hold of your smart home, or maybe your IoT sensors, then they will be able to gather some information on your systems as well, so which is not a good deal. So we are going to see that how, as a security analyst, we can tackle these kind of problems. One of the issues that we have seen is, as a SOC, I'm not sure if every one of you know what is a SOC. So SOC is basically a security operations collaboration. And as if you set up a SOC, what are the issues that you can face? Like one of the issues is like there are too many different products to support now. The older SOC operations who have been using SOC from some time, they don't know how to basically incorporate the new kind of devices, for example, IoT sensors or basically smart homes that were not there previously. So there can be your SOC setup that is not yet enabled to work with these kind of data. Also, the threats actually with the with going ahead with the times, actually the attackers are becoming more and more smart. They are trying to fool the system. They know how your SIM system works. They know how your SOC works. They know how a security analyst will think. So they will try to basically uh, to think in a way or attack in a way that it looks more realistic, and then you basically, it's the art of fooling. It's the art of fooling the system. It's the art of fooling the people. It's the art of fooling the whole environment, right? If you are able to fool the system, then you're able to assess the system, and then get hold of it. So that's the idea. So the attackers are also becoming more and more smarter, and on oral, and always remember that attacker is always one step ahead of you as compared to what you are, where you stand as a security analyst. So you cannot completely stop anyone, but our life is to make it more and more hard for the attackers to come and attack and get hold of our systems, right? Also, what I've told about this in my previous session as well. I gave a previous session on Azure Security Center, and it was basically how you can secure your hybrid cloud workload in your previous session. So there also we talk about how that there will be a lack of security talent. So people who understand security is going to be difficult to find those kind of people, because it's a very niche skill. B, the demand and supply that we can see is the demand of the security professional is going to go high even further. And right now, it's not able to fulfill the demand as well, because people finding right people is really challenging for the companies. So there would be from the study from ESG. It's saying that in the year 2021, which is next year, we will have 3.5 million unfilled position for as a security analyst. So this is something that we have to plan out as well, that okay, we will never have enough people to work on systems, so our systems have to be smart. Our system has to be smart, and then we have to put more automation into the system to make sure that we don't we if we are not able to fulfill the stock requirements with enough people, we basically try to make it as smart as possible. And how do we make it smart? We make it smart with automation. So introducing Azure Sentinel, we talk about the challenges that a SOC has been seeing. So what? comes over here is Azure Sentinel. What is Azure Sentinel? That's one of the question. If you have that question, we are going to talk about it as well. So Azure Sentinel is a cloud native SIM. It's a AI based cloud native SIM. What is SIM? We are going to talk about that as well in details, but SIM in general is a security information in event management solution. I understood that you are not able to follow me what is security information event management solution means. We are going to talk about it. We are going to see how does it work. So don't worry about it. Just stay calm right now, and then we are going to see what does it mean. So what Azure Sentinel gives you, it gives you it adds value to your defender. What does it mean? We are again going to see. So it's okay. But what's important over here as a cloud-based SIM is it can handle immense load. It's basically a software as a service solution that Microsoft is providing you, and it it can give you the cloud scale as well. So that means from one devices to 1,000 devices to 10,000 devices or millions of devices, we can scale it up to any number. Doesn't matter how rapidly your infrastructure increases, you don't have to worry about scaling up your your SIM in the same manner to make sure that your SIM is capable of handling those kind of data as inputs as well, or analyze those data as well. So with cloud, it's basically you can say it's a software as a service managed service setup from Microsoft where they give you the offering of SIM in a managed environment where you input connect your data sources to connect your environment to this SIM, and then they manage it for you. You don't have to basically manage your own servers where you have hosting the SIM because it's a software as a service solution. But what you have to do is go inside the SIM and manage your own data, and then see that okay, if something is happening, then take actions on those issues or incident that might have occurred. And what Azure Sentinel provides you, it provides you AI and automation. So how AI and automation helps, we are going to see as well in the demo ahead. But just to give you a high idea, uh, around 45% of the events that has been occurred that comes to a SIM solution, a security analyst never even opens them because they consider it okay. It's they are considered as noise, so they are not worth putting effort to analyze. So 45% is a big number. Now there can be another lot of errors which security analysts actually analyze, but they are nothing more than a noise as well. So we have to identify those devices, those errors, right? We have to identify those logs to make sure that okay, our security analysts are not spending time because again we talk about that we don't have enough security analysts, right? So we have to make sure that we are using their time uh, efficiently, right? So what comes is the AI comes into the picture over here. So Microsoft processes trillions of events every month. So they have built an AI-based solution which analyzes your content, analyzes your data, analyzes your logs, and then finds out if there are any anomalies. What is anomaly? Anomaly is basically trying to detect a pattern which is doesn't look normal. Just to give you an idea, if you talk about user signing, if I signing into my account from Germany right now, and after a couple of hours, the same account is being signed from states. Now it's not practically possible that I can be logging in from Germany at the same time, and then after a couple of hours, I am logging in from states, right? Because it's not practically possible that I can be in Germany and then states in couple of hours. So this is called user behavior that these systems work on, and they identify this, and then immediately they can block the access. Means we will see that how we can block the access and stuff. How does that automation of action basically taking an action works? But the first thing is you can identify these kind of issues. Okay, this is an issue, do something. Maybe we need an alert first, then maybe As a security analyst, I can go ahead and then block the access to my to this user account, or maybe I can put some sort of automation to identify these kind of issues and then block them automatically. And then if the user come back and then say, okay, my account has been blocked, we'll say that, okay, we have figured out, change your password because there is something wrong with your account. And then we investigate what went wrong and how his account got compromised. It was whether it was actually compromised or not, or if it was compromised, then how. If there was any phishing attack on us that we missed out on, or if there is his account details are read, or maybe the users are using the same password across multiple locations for their work and personal account, and their personal account got compromised somehow, and due to that their corporate account also got compromised. So will try to investigate those kind of issues. So talking about solution, so if I have to see, if I have to say that, okay, what is the role of a next generation SIM? What I'm using this word next generation SIM because the first generation or the old generation SIMs, they does not provide you the capability of analytics or provide you a capability of putting the automation into your responses, into your actions. So it's not a SOAR based solution. I'm going to talk about SOAR, SOAR. SOAR basically means security orchestration automated response. Again, I'm going to repeat for the people who have never heard about SOAR. SOAR means security orchestration automated response. So this might make some sense to you with the naming, but we are going to make more sense when we see how it works. So if we talk about security operations, we have four different phases. The first phase of it is correcting. The correcting is basically correcting the data. So we have different sort of data connectors for it. We are going to see and talk about it as well. The second phase is detecting. So once we have the data, now we have to detect if there is any issue in the system, right? If there is any threat or if there is any attack that we might have missed. So we need two things. We need analytics. That analytics can, because as an individual, it's as a security analyst, it's not possible as well now to go through all the events yourself, right? Because you will be getting hundreds and thousands of events, and then and you're we again we don't have enough security analysts as well, right? So it's not practically possible to go through all of them. What we need some sort of intelligence in the system. This intelligence comes with analytics. So analytics queries and see, okay, there is some sort of anomaly, and we talk about different anomaly, and then give you a response. Okay, there is something, you should look into it. So we need those kind of analytics. So analytics help you in those analytics, those everything. The second type of detection over here is hunting. Now, what is hunting? Hunting is basically one step before the incident. You're trying to see if there is any issue in your systems, if there is any vulnerabilities in your system. So you try to hunt for the vulnerabilities instead of finding it out after the attack. You try to find it out yourself as an attacker, or maybe as a security analyst, as a blue team. So you try to find those issues, and then you try to fix those issues. So hunting is basically also part of Azure Sentinel. It's not part of a lot of code based sims. For example, I know that Splunk doesn't offer hunting, as and then ArcSight also doesn't offer use hunting, and those are like one of the market leaders right now. Where Microsoft is coming and becoming, it's already the biggest security company in the market for sure when it comes to security, and they have a huge advantage over other companies. To be honest, for example, they have so many Windows devices in the world that they have so much of data to work with, along with they have so much money to build their systems. They have 3,500 security professionals, and they invest like more than $1 billion every month, every year. Sorry, they so $1 billion annually just on the security side of it, and that means they invest not if not tens, hundreds of millions of dollars just to build this kind of product like as a Sentinel, but at least tens of millions of dollars for sure, right? So there's a lot of money, there's a lot of effort, there's a lot of uh, intelligence that has been used to build this kind of system to make sure that, okay, whatever they are offering, it's really enterprise level security stuff. So it gives you the hunting as well, whereas a lot of other sims doesn't provide you that capabilities. Another pillar of this is the investigation. So now let's say we have an issue. So we have an incident, and then for with this incident, we have to investigate what happened, because we, as a security analyst, we don't have to block this. We have to analyze what went wrong as well, and then fix those issues to basically make sure that you don't you at least have an answer for the same attack if you have in the future. So you close the bridges between the attacker and your systems, right? So you investigate those incidents, and then you try to remediate those issues in order to make your systems more and more secure. The final option of this is the final option, or the final phase of this is the response phase. Now this is where the soul part of it comes. Remember I told about soul, security orchestration, automated response. So basically Sentinel is a SIEM plus soul based solution. So there are a lot of SIEM-based solution, there are a lot of SOAR-based solution, but what Sentinel provides you is a SIEM plus SOAR. If you don't understand it right now, maybe go ahead later on and just learn more about SIEM and SOAR. So they are two different offerings in general, but Sentinel provides you the capability of SIEM and SOAR both in one product itself. And definitely they're integrated in one product. So that gives you a uh, high power to work with. So I'm not going to sell Sentinel to you guys, but I'm going to give you the capability. So because it's important to understand that SIM and Soul are two different solutions, but if you get it in a one place, that gives you a lot of power to work with. So security operations team, basically, if you have the enough right individuals, you have the right skill set, and if you use cloud and artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence is finding you the right things to look at, and then if security operations teams, the the SOC team basically knows what to do, they will be able to solve this issue and make it more and more harder for the attackers to attack your systems. So we talk about the four phases. We talk about the correction part, the detection part, the investigation part, and the responding part. But what I didn't told you is that there are few stuff that is free as well. What do you mean by free? So how you are charged? You are charged for the data that is ingesting into the SIM based solution. So if you use your Azure Activity account, Azure Activity data, that is free. So you can analyze and use those Azure Activity data for free. If you use your Office 365 data, that is free as well. So if your company is already using Office 365, make sure that you are using Azure Sentinel, because you're not paying anything for it. You just pay for Azure Log Analytics Workspace, which you might also use for another purposes like monitoring and stuff. Like, but if you connect that log analytics workspace to SIM based solution like Azure Sentinel, that gives you the capability of analyzing the issues. Like for example, Office 365 data can be utilized for the same example that I gave you like few minutes back, like logging in from Germany and then logging in from US in couple of hours, which is not possible. So how do you identify this? The data ingestion for this scenario would be the Office 365 data, right? Because from Office 365, they know that, okay, I've been accessing my emails or some part of it, or maybe SharePoint or stuff. So they get that information from Azure AD or AAD or your Office 365 data, right? So you use those data as a part of Azure Sentinel, and you at least uh, make that means you can start with Office 365 and then slowly move towards another data connectors as well to get more and more information about your system and make it more smarter. Talking about Azure Sentinel once again, so we can have multiple sources of data ingestion. So M365 Security Center can be one account. Your Azure Security Center can be another ingestion. So you can use Azure AD as an identity, Azure ATP, or Microsoft Cloud App Security. I'm not going to go into deeper into all of that and what does they do, because if I start talking about that, every single box over here is another topic in itself. And there are a lot of other speakers who are speaking on these topics already. So I will suggest you to go ahead and then go to their streams, or maybe you can go to the videos once we publish it to the YouTube channel and then learn more about it. But the idea is that whatever Microsoft offering is under the Microsoft 365 Security Center umbrella, they are also covered, and that it can be also connected directly to the Azure Sentinel. Along with Azure Security Center, which is another offering, I talk about Azure Security Center in my previous session, couple of hours back. So I'm not going to go ahead and then talk about it again. But you can use Azure Security Center as an input and connect the Azure Security Center to Azure Sentinel and analyze those data. But the most important part to understand is you can also use your third-party sources as well. So what is third-party sources? Let me zoom into the system. So you can use your syslog data. You can use your firewall data. The whatever you are generating to your firewall, right? You can directly import that data over here, or you can use the Windows event log data to get the system. So you can have different setup, but in if I give you a brief explanation, if I give you a high level idea, there is something called CEF logs. This is basically the common logs that people have. It's called common event formatting actually. So this is a common standard that most of the security companies have came across, and then all of these devices basically can speak in the form of this CEF. For example, if people like the common sort of communication in an API is now JSON, right? Because every API, whether you built in Python or .NET or Java, they are speaking JSON, right? So that every other systems who are not in the same technology will be able to communicate with those systems, right, and integrate with these systems. Similarly, CEF is the common uh, event database, which is decided by security guys to make sure that every system is able to analyze and understand that data. Otherwise, you also have the option of using syslog. You can use syslog over TLS, you can use HTTPS, and then connect your different kind of systems to it. So talking about the connectors, we have different connectors actually. Different connectors, you can go to just take a pic of this, and then you can go ahead this with this link and then understand what are different kind of connectors. So connectors are basically, it gives you for data connection, you can use AWS as a connector. You can use your on-premises data centers connectors with the hybrid setup, or you can use your firewall as a connector and a lot of stuff. So we are going to see as well in the demo when we go to the demo. So no worries about it. So we already talked about what is Azure Sentinel and what is SIM and SOAR solution. So just this side is just going to repeat with what we have already discussed, but just to make sure that everyone understood what is SIM and what is SOAR, I'm going to read this out very loud, and if I hope that you are able to understand what does it mean. So Azure Sentinel is a true cloud native software as a service solution for SIM plus SOAR based solution. So security, information and event management plus security orchestration and automated response with, and it provides you with automatic scalability. You don't have to install any server, you don't have to manage any server. So it becomes, you don't have to worry about maintaining those servers because you already have a lot of servers to take care of as a IT guys or as a security analyst, right? So you don't have to worry about configuring it, complex configuration of those setups, because what I've seen, setting up traditional SIMs is another one of the challenges. Some security professional who are like SIM expert has to go and set up, and it takes a lot of money and effort to just set up a SIM uh, into your on-premises system. It's a nightmare, trust me. If you have not gone through that process, the my advice is don't go through that. It's a nightmare. So it help you set up teams to make we mostly focus on your incidents or making sure get everything is secure instead of managing those servers, right? That will be the last thing our engineers, security engineers should be worrying about. So, and just so you know, behind this, so it's built on top of your Azure Log Analytics workspace. So all your logs gets onto the Log Analytics, and then the SIM basically analyzes that Log Analytics workspace and then do the stuff on top of that. So again, we don't have any issue with scaling it. It scales automatically. You just have to pay more money, as simple as that. So it's like the more sugar you are putting into the sweet, the more sweet it becomes, right? So you add the more sugar you are adding, the sweetness level also increases. So it's like the more data you are putting it into the system, you have to pay more, of course. So, but the good thing is that you only pay for what you're using. So again, you don't have to invest a lot of money. This is again one of the biggest benefit of going with cloud, that you don't have to set up an infrastructure and invest a lot of money up front. You can just use the services, and then if you don't think it's useful, you can shut it down the day, and you only pay for what till the day you are using those services and for whatever amount of service you have used. And of course, we talk about setting up the we talk about that Office 365 data is free, so you make use of this. Also, I talk about automatic scaling. Then people basically all my clients can be they become furious that I don't know how much money I will be ending up paying, and it's only going to increase. So you can have your capacity reservations over there. So you can make sure that okay, if this you can set up a limit. Okay, I don't want more data to analyze over 200 GB, for example, or 2 TB. So you can put those limits and then say, okay, I don't want to pay uh, more than 1,000 euro per month, for example. So you can put those kind of limits as a company as well. And there is no commitments. There is no annual commitments to it. So you basically it's flexible. You pay the whatever day you are using. So traditionally, you have to do the hardware setup yourself and then spend money on that and spend money on maintenance or software updation, because the SIEM is also nothing but software side. So you have to update them and then make sure that everything is up to date. So you don't have to worry about anything. You just have to focus on securing your infrastructure here because it's a software as a service solution. Good thing is that it integrates with adjacent tools and data sources. So you don't have to worry about we doing all your security stuff. So whatever security setup you have right now, this will directly integrate. And I told you the reasons as well. You have a lot of inbuilt connectors. Again, if they don't have connector, you have CEF outside. So you can connect the data from different places, and then we are getting like wow, more than 10 petabyte. So 10 PB of daily data daily and injection it into Azure Sentinel and it can scale. And you understand, right? With AI, the more data the system is getting, the more uh, the system is improving more as quickly, right? So it's good that other companies are also putting up their data into the system so that the more analyzing is done by Azure Sentinel, the more smarter it will become for the future. So you can use there's a lot of inbuilt AI that I talk about, but you can build upon your own models and integrate your own models as well. So if you understand machine learning, you can train your systems with your own data and then bring your own machine learning models into the system. So that is also possible, which gives you a flexibility on not just relying on their systems and then build something which is generic. Their system will be generic, right? But you can build something very which is custom tailored for your solutions. Also, one thing I want to talk about is the community, because for this product, a lot of community inputs has been taken. So if you go to github.com/Azure Sentinel, you will find a lot of playbooks, a lot of scripts, a lot of and a lot of queries to work with. And then it's basically a good starting point to set up your SIM. If you don't know anything about it, just go for it. Just go to it, spend a couple of hours. You will be amazed with whatever kind of data they have put in over there. So I'm going to stop now about giving you more information about Sentinel. Instead, I'm going to show you how the Sentinel looks like in this reporter. So I'm going to go to my Chrome and logging into my Azure account. Oops, I logged in from the wrong account, so I have to go back. I'm habitual of using my work account, so I directly clicked on my work account. Let me log in into my personal account. Okay, so we are here. So let me show you Azure Sentinel. So as I told you, Azure Sentinel basically works on top of log analytics workspaces. So you're going to see one of my log analytics workspace. I've already created Azure Sentinel though, but you can always click on add and then provide new information and then create a new one. But all it needs is basically a log analytics workspace. I'm not going to show you how this looks like. I'm not going to create a new one, because it's fairly simple. You just have to provide some information, say where it's going to deploy, in which region, and what should be information, and then set present here and done it. So it's pretty straightforward. If you have worked with Azure before, it will be quite simple process for you to create a new one. So I'm not going to go into that. Instead, I'm going to show you your own Azure Sentinel. So this is how your Sentinel looks like. I have, if you see, I have one error over here. There's some sort of spike here. Even I have not looked into it personally before this time, so we'll figure it out together. What was this error for? Or maybe it's something that I was testing it before, and then because of that, it might have been generated. But we'll see. Also, if you see, we have 27.3 thousand security events, and then we have some 25,000 inputs from my Azure data, and we have 4.3 thousand heartbeats, and other data is 2,000. So we see that this is the overview page of it, but we see a lot of data as well, right? There is a lot of data that is generated over here, but how do we connect? Means the first step, remember we talked about, was to get the data right. So first, what we have to do is we have to go to this data connector in the configuration tab over here. Now there are 39 connectors right now, ranging from AWS. So you can connect, yes, you can connect your AWS solutions as well, and then manage your AWS subscription directly from here. You can secure your AWS as well, and of course you can do it on premises as well. But there is a direct connector for AWS over here. We don't have direct connection for Alibaba or GCP as of now, but I'm hopeful that it will also come in the future. But because AWS is biggest cloud platform, that was the first target to bring and secure. Right. Again, if the connector is not present directly, that doesn't mean you cannot talk to it or you cannot integrate it. It's just that you can use that CEF that I told you about it, because every tool or the systems you have will be able to speak with in CEF language. So you can connect AWS, or you can connect your Azure Active Directory. So I'm just quickly going to show you Azure Activity, AIP, or Azure Advanced Threat Protection, Security Center, Checkpoint. This is now this Checkpoint or Cisco system, or your Citrix system. This is what I was talking about, CEF, Common Event Format. The name also suggests that it's a common event which people have agreed on. And you can look into your DNS log. So I've not integrated everything because I don't need everything, but I've integrated, like for example, I've already integrated my Office 365 account. Or we can integrate your syslogs or your threat intelligence taxi servers. You can integrate directly with it, or you can use your Windows firewall as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly go into one of them. Let's say Azure activity. So the moment I go, let me show you here. If you see on the right hand side, it already show me that I have some data that I've received because I've already connected it. But here it says that I have some relatable content. Now this is true for, like, I have not done for ATP. If I go to ATP, it's also showed that it does not have any workbook. What is workbook? We are going to come to that, don't worry. But it does not have any relatable workbooks to work with. But it has some sample queries. Now, and it has some sort of analytics template as well. We are going to see how does these things work. But the idea, the first step is, yes, the first step is to connect your data source. So we connected our data source. Then I am going to quickly show you how simple it is to connect. I'm just using this. I just have to say, yeah. And then enable create incident. I don't have permission because I don't have ATP set up in this subscription, but it's just a bad example, but it's as simple as clicking on next. So like I've already used Azure activity. There also I'm getting some data and stuff. So it's as simple as just opening and saying yes, I agree to the terms and condition and then enabling it. So the first part is completed. So we are able to detect the data. What is the second part? Anyone remember the second part? Again, you cannot answer me, but try to remember in your own mind. Okay, it's okay if you're not. We are going to talk about analytics. So remember, we created the data source. Now we had some sort of analytics workbooks associated with this. So here, what we say is we create a schedule query rule or a Microsoft incident creation rule. What does this mean? Schedule query is again going to query and then it's going to see that, okay, if something happened, if something has not happened. If it's there, we will schedule, will get notified. But if this is true, if this criteria that we define here is true, then we'll create an incident in the system. So I'm going to look into this, for example. So it gives me, so they have already identified what can be the issue, and then you create the analytics workspace from it. Oops, I came back. So playbooks are basically the action part of it. Remember, we talk about soul, right? When we have an incident, we have some issue, we want to resolve it. Like we'll talk in our example, we gave you an example like, okay, if there is an like if I found that someone logged in from US instead of Germany in a couple of hours, then blocked that user account, right? So those all things can be done with this logic app. In your previous session, we learned about logic app, so I'm not going to go ahead and show you how does the logic app you created, but it's simple drag and drop setup, which you can directly drag and drop, and then you can build your workflow that maybe you can say that, okay, create a case in ServiceNow and send me a mail as well, and then notify these people, and then block this access, and then do something. So it's just a workflow that you have to define with this playbook, but which gives you a capability that you don't have to write any piece of code in order to do it, but you can do it with the simple drag and drop scenario. You just have to know and understand what exactly you want to do. So if I go to logs, we have the security logs. So I've already connected my security center as well to my Azure Sentinel. So I can say that, okay, give me the data that is generated by Azure Security Center. So it said that traffic detected from IP address recommended for blocking. It's some issue for sure. What is the severity? The severity of this is low. Okay. Let's see if description helps us. Macros are defected inbound traffic from IP address that are dependent to be blocked. This typically occurs when this okay, let me scroll it down to get the right view. This typically occurs when this IP address does not communicate regularly with this resource. So, for example, if someone is trying to access from system which they have not used previously, I'm connecting it from a random location, so they trigger it as an alert. So you get all the information associated with what will be the investigation steps as well. Like it say that okay, look in the IP review whether it's not, if not, then enforce the hardening and then so on and so forth. So it gives you the remediation steps as well. It's so smart. Also, what you can do is you can look into the charts and see that if there is any anomaly, because going through logs is difficult, but if you see it in a graphical representation and you see a spike or something, you understand, okay, something went wrong over there, and then you can go into that instance and then work on that. So let me run it for us 7 days. So I have this account. I can select one and then add it to bookmark. So it says I just create, I can put some tags to it, I can put some notes to it, but just for saving some time, I'm not doing it right now. Mm, now, we found that there is some issue, right? So what we will do, we will go to analytics. There are a lot of rule templates that is already been defined for different scenarios. You just have to enable those rules. There's a lot of it. If I start talking about right now, it's going to take months. But you can just have a look and then play around with it. But I'm going to go back to incident. I can look into the existing incident and then investigate what happened, what went wrong, and then I can look into that exact record. So like you investigate any security incident in your systems, right? You investigate and see what went wrong. So you can go ahead and then create those incidents and then fix those issues as well. Okay, let me go back to incidents. I have 6 open incident. I can basically investigate. I can see that okay, traffic directed from different subscriptions, and then this shows me nice graph of what went. So I don't have any owner, so I can assign it to any of my security analysts to look into it, or I can assign it to myself, assign it to me, because I'm most only looking into it right now. I I can change the status from active to close, or you can have new. I can say active right now. So I figure out, okay, the system has made it as a low severity, but I think it's medium, just for example. So I can change that as well. And then I can go into individual things and then say, okay, this is a friendly name, but I can basically spend time here in understanding what are different entities and from where I'm getting the request, maybe where which seems unreasonable for the system. I have this bad habit of closing down the whole events. So I can go into this alert as well. This is the same as attack that we looked into, so no worries. My system was already generating if there is any medium the severity, just generate an alert. So there was some SSL attack onto my system, which actually I didn't generate it, so it's not my attack. This is someone actually maybe doing some sort of issue. If I investigated later, I will try to figure it out. And before we go ahead, I just want to show you the hunting part as well, because there's a lot of stuff that I didn't talk about right now. I didn't talk about workbooks and notebooks, but you can use your Jupyter notebooks and then put automation with this Jupyter notebooks over here. And I can quickly talk about different templates as well, because for different compliance or logs and everything, well, there are different inbuilt templates that you can use. Uh, for example, for Azure activity, you have some template that it works. We can view the template and then edit it and work on top of it. So if you look into the template, it also creates a right view for you to analyze and understand. Like I have 1.5, 1.055 thousand records, and then from where I am getting these records and which is different activities and what issues happen. So I can analyze everything at once. So these are different templates for different views for different workspaces. I again have this bad habit of going to the root. Always I need to figure it out how to stop going to the root. Just want to show you this hunting part as well. So again, one of the big issues that we have is to make sure that we are not able to identify and solve the issues, but also are able to hunt the systems. Yeah, sorry, we have some question. Okay, then we have a lot of queries actually that we can individually find. Like we can say PowerShell or non-browser mailbox. This will determine if the mailbox login was done from SIEM PowerShell session. If someone is trying to log in with the PowerShell session, so I can run this query, and then we don't have any result because it's not true. But this is how you can use the inbuilt queries. This is for office activity. If I select all, you can say that okay, this updates to for different kind of scenarios. So they have already identified different kind of scenarios, and then by running the query, they run these queries on the top of your logs, and then try to analyze if there is any issue already. If not, if there is any issue, you can identify it beforehand before any before basically any incident happens. You can also run manual queries. Just saying, which makes your life easier. Run all queries, sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and then see if something happened. Also, just wanted to show you one last thing. If you can bookmark your logs, that like I did, you can simply click on this, and then you can investigate directly from here as well. Or you can add those system to the incident and or create a new incident from here. This we have already created, so we are not going ahead. But if I click on this one, I can create a new incident, and we already saw that how do we investigate an incident, how does incident works and all right. So I'm not going to go ahead and create this again, but you have the idea now how does incidents work and all. So with that, I am going to go back to my slide and with a request. So my request right now is if you are able to understand anything from this session, and if you think this session was useful for you, my small request for you is to go onto these links and then donate, because we are going through a tough times right now. We are going through the times of COVID, and then lots of people have lost their jobs, so they are basically striving for basic food and necessities.
Agnes, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can. So just want to do a small request. Even if you pay like $1, I would be happy. This tough times, every penny counts. So maybe just drop some money for your coffee that you might be using for coffee. Just skip your coffee once, and then donate for the someone that can actually help in buying a full meal for some person in some part of the world. So if you think this was anyway useful, please go ahead and donate into those events. Also, 10% of the funds from the sponsoring of this event will also directly go to these charities as well. So with that, I want to end my session. There are a couple of QR codes. On the left hand side, you have a speaker feedback. So make sure you go ahead and give me 5-star ratings. I'm just kidding. Be honest and then give the right ratings. If you think this was useful, please go ahead and then tell me. If you think something was not good, please go ahead and tell me as well, so that I try to make sure that I fix those kind of issues in the future whenever I'm presenting. Also, if you think the event was good for
Agnes, can
you,
you hear me okay?
yeah, we can.
Yes, I can.
So just wrapping up, we say if you have any feedback for the event, go ahead and scan the right QR code and then give you the feedback on this. With this, I'm going to end.